UFC Fight Night, Kansas City, Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates just ended. And Ian Machado Garry just put on a masterclass against Carlos Prates and wins via unanimous decision. I'll start right away. You know, if you want to tune out, you can tune out. Man. And I got a special surprise for you in this video, so make sure you stick around. Oh, man. Those Ian Machado Garry haters' tears taste so damn delicious. You know what? I got to get another sip of that. Man, Garry really put it on Prates. I don't want to hear any more of the Fighting Nerds hype. I don't want to hear it. On 3 weeks' notice, Garry went in there and put on a clinic against a dangerous striker and knockout artist in Carlos Prates. Let's go through it round by round, because I know you guys are going to talk about that 5th round. Maybe I'm going to have a hot take on that 5th round, but we'll get to that in a second. Round 1, Garry was boxing him up, landing head kicks that weren't full-fledged landing. They were partially catching the guard, but the foot was partially getting through. Landing good body kicks as well. Garry mixed in a couple takedowns in the first round, but they were half-hearted takedowns. Really wasn't trying to get them. And then late in the first round, Garry was clearly winning the first round. Late in the first round, I didn't go back and rewatch this point, so I don't know exactly what happened. But it was like a trip or Prates stumbled. He ended up on his back. Garry caught him not really paying attention after he went down, and Garry caught him with a couple big ground and pound shots. So clear 10-8 or 10-9 first round for Ian Machado Garry. Second round, Garry's outclassing him. I mean, it wasn't even close. Garry's hitting him with good punches, walking him down. Prates is just shelling up a bit. When Garry, well, Prates is having the forward pressure, okay? But then Garry would go from using his lateral movement and footwork to then he would explode with a combination and start walking Prates down a little bit. Prates would just shell up. He would never counter at all. And in the second round, Garry was beaten up on Prates so badly. Prates clinched twice. The jabs were landing nonstop. The kicks were landing nonstop. Second round, clean round for Ian Machado Garry. Third round was Garry's best round. Garry was chewing him up on the feet. Prates looked like he didn't even belong in there. There was a combination that Garry landed that really kind of hurt Prates, or really connected really good. And I think it was a secondary combination. Like, he landed a similar combination and really tagged Prates. It was an uppercut, and you could hear his corner yell, same combination. Then he did it again. I might be misremembering. This might be a little bit out of order. Lands it again, hurts Prates, ends up kind of walking him down, looking to beat him up a little bit more, then gets a takedown, had some control, had his back, had back shots dead, looked to take his back a little bit, but then realized he wasn't getting it, lands a knee on the way up, and then another late takedown for Garry. Clear third round, 10-9, not even close. At this point, it's not even close. On 3 weeks' notice, if this was a 3-round fight, Garry wins clean, 30-27, complete and utter domination masterclass. Fourth round is where it starts to get a little bit shaky for Garry, but really not really. Garry was dominating him, chewing him up with oblique kicks, front kicks to the body, couple takedown attempts that really weren't, they were more half-hearted, but Prates showed really good takedown defense. There might have been like one or two where Garry was actually kind of trying for it, but Garry, his fight IQ is so high, even when he shot on real takedowns, when he realized he wasn't really going to get him, he would just back off immediately. He wouldn't waste energy looking for takedowns. And basically, Prates had nothing to offer for the first 3.5 minutes of the fourth round. Then late, Prates threw a step-in knee and then a left hand that tagged Garry, split open the cut, split open the nose a little bit, and then landed a couple more shots after that for the last minute. There was a couple more left hands that landed on Garry's nose and face. And for some reason, people thought those 3 or 4 shots, this is a common theme for this fight, those 3 or 4 shots at the end of the fourth round somehow won him the fourth round. Absolutely ludicrous, embarrassing, insane, disgraceful, and biased if you thought Carlos Prates won the fourth round. Fifth round. More competitive round. Garry's clearly winning the fifth round. Clearly winning the fifth round. More oblique kicks, more body kicks, shooting some half-hearted takedown attempts, maybe trying a little bit harder for him, but really getting stuffed on those. Single leg, I think he went for. And then the last minute and a half, right before this, literally we're talking from like 2.5 minutes left to a minute and a half left, Garry stumbled him with a right hand, landed a couple good combinations, and Gary's clearly taking the 5th round at this point. The last minute and a half, he shoots a sloppy-ass takedown, gets reversed, ends up on bottom. Carlos Prates starts throwing a couple hammer fists. Then Garry kind of scrambles, crawls over to the fence. Prates starts throwing a couple shots there. Garry gets back up again, shoots another half-hearted takedown, ends up on the ground again. Prates lands a couple elbows, or throws a couple elbows. We're going to get to that in a second. Then eventually Garry gets back up, starts throwing combinations again. The crowd was going wild at this moment. You know, the intensity, or really the tension, not the intensity, the tension was high because people are like, oh my God, is Carlos Prates going to pull it off? It's 4-0 Garry right now going in this 5th round. He's winning the 5th round and Prates might pull it out. And in real time, it was like, oh no, what's going on? The body language, the visuals, the optics for Garry really didn't look good that last minute and a half, okay? I never thought it was ever close to actually being legitimately stopped, but Big Dan Miragliotta was in there tonight. I was terrified because Big Dan had horrible reffing all night. He was stopping fights from the clapper and not the bell. So I was terrified he was going to jump in there. Luckily, he didn't. Garry makes it to the bell. Carlos Prates loses a unanimous decision. I think 2 judges had it 48-47, completely delusional. 1 judge had it fine at 49-46. I went back and rewatched that 5th round. I don't think it's crazy if you give it to Prates. I do not, let me repeat, I don't think it's crazy if you give it to Prates. The tension on that sequence made it seem much worse than it actually was. There was 3 or 4 good shots that landed for Prates. Most of the hammer fists, there was like 1 or 2 that landed. And then like 1 of the elbows partially landed. I can't remember exactly how many shots it was. But when Garry shot it on the second takedown and he was kind of throwing the elbows, it really landed on the arm. Go back and rewatch it. And Garry was never rocked at all. The optics were bad because he was tired. He was exhausted because he took the fight on 3 weeks' notice. But he was never close to being finished. He wasn't even wobbled or anything. When he got back to his feet both times, he shot it on the takedown the 1 time. Then the second time, he started right back to striking. So I think the 5th round was over-dramatized a lot by the crowd and the commentary and the fact that Garry was up and dominating. And honestly, live, I scored it for Prates. Watching it back, I scored it for Garry. Go back and rewatch it. I know people are going to say I'm biased. I know, Joe, you're an Ian Machado Garry fan. I'm dead serious. Go back and rewatch it. The tensions were high, man. And it felt like, oh my God, is he going to get this finish? The shots really didn't land. And Prates was tired. He was tired as hell too. He didn't have that much pop. So Garry gets it done. Again, 5th round. Okay, you can debate. You could say Prates, you thought he did more damage in that last minute and a half than Garry did in the first 3.5 minutes. But at the end of the day, okay, give it to Prates. That's what I did live. I still 4-1 Ian Machado Garry. And for those first 4 rounds, it was a complete masterclass. Prates had nothing to offer. He was getting tagged on the feet. And people are like, man, Gary's not dangerous. Gary's running. Gary's not even, has no finishing ability. Why do you think Prates didn't engage at all for 4 rounds? I posed that question for you. Why didn't Prates? Oh, because he was getting his ass beat on the feet. Every time he moved forward, he was getting tagged. He was getting countered. He was getting smacked with that uppercut. His knee was getting absolutely destroyed with that oblique kick. His body was getting destroyed with those body kicks. Garry was managing distance. Garry was managing range. Garry was circling well. And when he rushed forward, he landed. The accuracy was unbelievable. I mean, I'm not ever going to use stats to bolster an argument. But I know there's a lot of people out there who watch the UFC and watch MMA. They're like, man, the stats, this guy outlanded him 5-1. I bet you the stats are insane for this fight. I bet you Garry had way more output. I know he had way more output, but I bet the stats, the people who are the statisticians, oh my God, look at the stats, man. You don't know what you're talking about. I bet you, go look at them stats. The people who live and die by those stats, go check out those stats. Great win from Ian Machado Garry. He gets it done over Carlos Prates. I forgot to mention in the 5th round, he had a little bit of clinch control as well. They told me he wouldn't win. They told me he didn't have a chance. The fighting nerds, man, they're undefeated when we exclude 3 fighters, man. The fighting nerds. Carlos Prates, man, he smokes cigs. He's cool. He's edgy. He's going to beat up the cook, man. He's going to beat up the cook, bro. I'll tell you right now, Prates was giving off some feminine cucky vibes in this fight. I'll tell you that. He didn't fight at all for the first 4 rounds because he was getting his ass whooped. Garry was better in the grappling. Garry was better in the striking. Garry was better in the clinch. The only way Prates had any moments was because Ian Machado Garry took it on 3 weeks' notice. Without Garry taking it on 3 weeks' notice, he's not tired in that 5th round. And that doesn't even happen at the end of the 5th round. And I know people are going to say, man, Prates had him, bro. They had him, man. He was going to get it, man. Was not ever close. I implore you, go back and rewatch it. Not even close to being a stoppage. But at the end of the day, what are we gonna? We're gonna argue about semantics. We're gonna argue. Oh my God, could have, should have, would have, could have, should have, would have. Even if you score the 5th round, he didn't finish him. The fight was not stopped. The optics didn't look good. Garry got it done, and man, Garry keeps showing how elite he is. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. I'll never forget. I would never fucking forget when I said Colby Covington will never fight Ian Machado Garry. He will run and duck like his life depends on it. And people said to me, Joey, you don't like Colby Covington because of his political beliefs, bro. MAGA. Colby Covington, MAGA. You don't like it because of his political beliefs. He ran from Ian Machado Garry because he's a soy boy beta bitch who would have got absolutely eviscerated by Ian Machado Garry. You think that fight's happening now? You think that fight's happening now? Garry looks so damn good. I'm not sure who beats him. Take JDM. JDM sat out. He gets gifted a title shot for sitting out. Oh, by default, you'll get it. Garry says he wants to be the backup fighter for UFC 315. So when JDM pulls out, throw in Ian Machado Garry. You should be rewarded. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Even the most dangerous guys, even if they're behind you in the rankings, you're not be like, bro, I'm ranked number 5. He's number 6, bro. I'm not fighting him. So many fighters hide behind their rankings. Give Ian Machado Garry the respect that he deserves. I'm tired of it. I mean, this fight was a complete masterclass. He was way better than Prates on the feet. The fight IQ was incredible. The way he was throwing them teeps, the way he was throwing those obliques, the way he was circling and using his footwork because, oh, the only way Prates can win is landing a bomb on me. Garry improves and levels up every single fight. I'd pick him again over Shavkat. Oh, Joey, you gave him a participation trophy. I thought he was going to beat Shavkat. I already said Garry was a future champion. Okay, how did I elevate him off of losing to Shavkat when I already picked him to beat Shavkat and I already said he was a future champion? And people are like, man, he's going to get ran through by Shavkat. Shavkat's going to run through him, man. Shavkat's undefeated, nothing but finishes. Garry goes out there and almost finishes Shavkat. Now he gets, oh man, Prates, man, the fighting nerds, they're so good, bro. I got to stop. They're so good, bro. The fighting nerds, they're undefeated, man. When you exclude a couple fighters, they're undefeated, man. Gary's going to get finished. He's going to get obliterated. And sure enough, Garry goes out there and beats the dog shit out of Carlos Prates. He basically dog walked him for 4 rounds. Prates had nothing. He couldn't close the distance. He couldn't land. Gary's so elusive. If it wasn't for the fact that Garry took it on 3 weeks' notice, we're not even talking about that 5th round. So give the man his credit. Give the man his due. Step in against a dangerous opponent who's ranked behind him on short notice and get it done. Domination. Majority domination. Garry won 23 minutes of this fight. 23 minutes and a half, if we're being honest. Okay? Prates had a couple moments at the end, never close to being stopped, never rocked at all. Even Garry came out afterwards and said, look, I wasn't rocked. I knew where I was. I just had to keep moving. He was tired because he did not have a full training camp. Carlos Prates did. He was training for Jeff Neal at UFC 314. Had a full camp. Garry did not. And now Garry wants to step in a championship fight in a couple weeks. Man, what a true alpha male. And I really do think a guy like Garry should be rewarded for fighting the most dangerous guys regardless of ranking. And I don't think he gets enough credit as it is, because the haters, the incels, like Jeff Neal's a super tough opponent. MVP's a super tough opponent. Shavkat Rakhmonov on short notice is a completely horrible stylistic matchup for 99% of the roster. Carlos Prates on short notice. High risk, low reward, but he does it anyway because he doesn't give a fuck. But you have these weirdo, bitch boy, soy boy incels. Man, think about how fucking weird it is. We'll end on this, but I got something else to show you in a second. Stick around. Think about how weird this is. You have a bunch of weirdo incels who don't get any women, who make up fake narratives. You have a bunch of incel weirdos who make up fake narratives about Ian Machado Garry's marital life. They use those fake narratives to hate on Ian Machado Garry. And then they use the hate that they have from the fake narratives to analyze his skill set and then pick against him. If you picked Carlos Prates in this fight, you were a complete casual. His only chance was a puncher's chance. Garry's better everywhere. He's better in the striking. He's better in the grappling. He's got better fight IQ. He has better cardio. I know Prates won the last minute and a half of the 5th round. That's because he didn't throw for the entire fight again. I guarantee those stats are insane. The output, visually, the output, Garry probably 5 times him in output. Nasty jabs, nasty obliques, head kick after head kick after head kick. Not all of them landed, but the output from Garry was insane. And you have people like, man, I don't like his wife. I don't like his wife because she's hotter than any woman I'll ever get, so I don't like her. She's a gold digger, bro. She wrote some weird satirical book, bro. So I'm going to use these weird narratives. I'm going to call him a cuck. And then I'm going to use these weird fake fantasy fairy tales that I make up about fighters to then analyze their skill set and then pick against them because you have that level of bias. I just think that's insane. Garry put on a masterclass. He is the better striker. He is the better grappler. He has the better cardio. I don't care what anyone says. Again, Prates was exhausted too. He had a full training camp. Garry was still kicking and screaming at the last 10 seconds. He threw a spinning back kick to the calf. He did that twice. So Gary's the better fighter. We can look. You guys can give Carlos Prates a participation trophy. I think that's what you guys need to do. Give Carlos Prates a participation trophy. I'll co-sign this one. I don't normally give out participation trophies, but you know what? He survived 5 full rounds with Ian Machado Garry. So give him a participation trophy. Now to end this video, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this, boys. This is the comments from my prediction video. Ian Machado Garry Glaze incoming. They couldn't even use his full name because they were too ashamed to use it. Ian Garry Glaze incoming. I can't wait till Prates smokes Garry. Prates, the only thing Prates is smoking is a Marlboro Red, okay? He probably eats them bitches, to be quite honest. Then he says, oh, this one has nothing to do with it. I don't know what fight you were watching. Garry threw absolutely nothing at Shavkat in the first 2 rounds. Didn't land a single significant blow the entire fight. Lucked in to get in the back and never got close to locking the choke in. Ian Garry's definitely top 10, but he loses to everyone in the top 5 and Buckley. Garry would smoke Buckley. Ian Machado Garry Glaze starts. All right, this guy actually has a good comment right here. Respect to Ian Garry actually taking fights a lot of other ranked welterweights can learn from this fighter. Facts. This dude's going to be crying on Saturday night. This guy's going to be crying. Who's crying now, bitch? He's crying now. Everyone gets a participation trophy to Joey except the one he likes, like Garry. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy, boys. Garry gets it done. The incel tears taste so good, man. They taste so damn good. Let me know what you guys think of the Ian Machado Garry Masterclass at UFC Kansas City. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.